All right, so the Trump administration just conducted a massive ICE raid at a construction site in Tallahassee, Florida, and there's actual video footage of these arrests taking place. And I think it's incredibly important for people to see this video to understand what the Trump administration is doing, and of course, also the Republican response to what is happening across the United States. So I want to play this clip for you, but before I do so, I want to give you a little bit of context of what happened. This is from the Miami Herald. It was an article published about this raid saying dozens of construction workers detained in Tallahassee immigration raid. Federal immigration agents descended on a construction site for new apartment buildings near Florida State University on Thursday morning, rounding up dozens of workers as distraught family members, friends, and colleagues watched them be questioned and detained by authorities. At least 30 people were arrested, zip-tied, and held inside a white bus with barred windows waiting to be transported to an unknown facility. Some of the detained workers spoke to reporters through the grated windows, identifying themselves as coming from a variety of different countries. One of the detainees said he had permanent residency in the United States and was here legally, but we'll get back to some of these stories later. I want to show you this clip now, and then we'll talk about it after. Have a look.
Get off the ground! Get off the fucking ground! Give me your hand! No! Give me your hand! Give me your hand! Stop fighting! Run in!
Voglio verga comunque di che voglio ice Diego ice voglio verga a ver qué rollo con el pollo.
Yeah, I mean, look, some of the scenes in this video are just absolutely horrifying, seeing this kind of stuff taking place here in the United States. Like this one, for example, where men with zip ties around their hands are being led out by agents. And also this one, of course, where a man was tackled to the ground, being screamed at. The agent is telling him, "Show me your hands." When he's on the ground, he's defenseless. And a lot of people in the comments are calling out the Trump administration for doing this. One guy said, "Damn, they brought the prisoner bus out." Another responded, "Well, they don't have time to build the new rails to bring in the train cars." Another said, "I'm sure they arrested all of the employers of these hardworking individuals, correct?" Another one said, "Can't you see all these violent criminals building houses?" And I think that a lot of these criticisms are valid, but I want to get back into this Miami Herald article to talk about some of these people who spoke to reporters who witnessed this operation. And then I want to show you some of the Republican reactions to the operation, which I just find to be incredibly disgusting. A detained worker from Mexico who identified himself as Geronimo told a Miami Herald reporter in Spanish, quote, "They treat us like criminals." He said, lamenting that the work they do in the U.S. is not appreciated. "We are now going to put that energy back into our country." And this is something that we're seeing across the United States, where hardworking people who are here have been working a job for decades. They have American citizen family members here. They have no criminal record. They're giving back to their community, are now being deported because of Donald Trump and the work that they're putting into the United States, no matter what field they're working in, is not being appreciated. And now we, the United States, the people of the United States, will miss this labor. Things will be built slower. Industries will slow down. There will be a lot of holes in our economy. It's just incredibly insane what the Trump administration is doing with all of this. The immigration operation led by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement with the help of Florida Highway Patrol is the latest example of how the Trump administration and the state of Florida are partnering together to accelerate deportations in the state. On Thursday, ICE said in a statement that authorities went to the construction site to serve, quote, multiple search warrants as part of an ongoing investigation into the Tallahassee region. And of course, it's unclear whether all of those detained were identified by federal authorities prior to their arrival or if some were caught in the crosshairs of the operation. But Faustino Macedo, a 41-year-old father whose wife and 5 children are U.S. citizens, was among those detained. And his wife, Amanda Parrish, told the Herald all this information. Macedo was in the process of getting a green card, did not have a criminal background, and had worked for the same company for 14 years. This is the exact kind of person that we want in the United States, the exact kind of person that should be given a legal path to citizenship to be here legally. And instead of embracing an individual like this who has worked for 14 years for the same company, is building things in the United States, we decide to deport him. The company, New South Systems, did not respond to a request for comment. Unsurprising, Parrish witnessed her husband stand for hours next to dozens of workers, each of whom were being questioned by federal authorities about their immigration status. She stood by a fence crying and worrying about her family. Quote, "This is what I was hoping would not happen. They are not just immigrants. They have families. They are family." An incredibly heartbreaking quote. I mean, I can't imagine the pain of watching your loved ones being detained by federal authorities who are part of the Trump administration in this manner. It's just so inhumane. Lila Munoz, 22, was with her brother and mother outside of the construction site where her uncle and dad were working. Her father was detained and put inside the bus, she said. She is hopeful he will be released from custody soon because she said there is proof that he was going through his legal immigration process and that he has no criminal record. And once again, why is someone like this being deported? He's working here in the United States. He's going through the legal process to get legal immigration papers and things of that nature, and yet he's being detained and thrown in a windowless bus in front of his daughter? It's just so heartbreaking. It's insane. As she watched federal authorities question workers, she recalled a conversation her parents recently had with her and her 2 younger siblings. They wanted to prepare them for such an event. Quote, "It hurts that families have to talk about this with their kids. He had never done anything illegal. He just works hard every day to support her family." She said her dad's main message was clear. He wanted us to be strong. Once again, I just want to reiterate that something like this taking place in the United States is unfathomable, I think, for a lot of people. But that's why I think it's so important to see this video footage, see these photos from the site, and hear these people's stories, because it is taking place because of Donald Trump. And that brings me to the last thing I want to show you, which is the Republican reaction to the raids today. And I think this is just so gross. And just so many different examples of it. Libs of TikTok, a huge conservative account on Twitter, said, "Massive ICE raid in Tallahassee, dozens of undocumented immigrants arrested. This is exactly what I voted for." Yes, they are bragging about voting for hardworking folks who have families, they have children, they've been here for decades, getting deported. That's what they're bragging about right now. Another one, Gunther Eagleman, another awful MAGA account. Breaking, ICE just scored a huge haul of undocumented immigrants in Tallahassee. Deport them all, once again celebrating hardworking people being removed from the country. And if you just look up Tallahassee on Twitter, you see so many different examples that I'm scrolling through right now of Republicans celebrating what we just watched. These really, really inhumane ICE raids taking place, just celebrating it. I think it's the depravity is plentiful here. I mean, it's just awful. And on the flip side, there are some Democrats commenting on this, which I agree. This man says, "ICE is raiding construction sites in Tallahassee. These are our neighbors, working Floridians with families who deserve basic dignity and the freedom to build a better future for themselves. If you're celebrating this dehumanizing cruelty, you've lost your humanity." And that's exactly right. All of these Republicans that we just saw, all of them celebrating this, they've lost their humanity. They don't even look at these people as human. They look at them as subhuman. And so when they're detained and deported, they don't care that they have families. They don't care that they have lives. They don't care that they've been here working for decades. They just care that they've been arrested, and they have lost their humanity. And I really agree with that point. And of course, instead of addressing any of this, instead of even talking about it, Donald Trump is doing his usual on Truth Social, although he hasn't posted in 19 hours, which might be a record for Donald Trump, but he's not doing any of this. Let's refresh the page to make sure. Oh, no, actually, he just posted 40 minutes ago saying that he's nominating someone to be the United States Office of Special Counsel. Ironically, he's nominating someone for this office while deporting people and treating people in a very inhumane way. That's the Trump administration way. That's what they're doing right now. And that's why I just think this is so heartbreaking. and so sad to watch. Again, taking place here in the United States. So, look, I'll leave the video there. I just wanted to bring your attention to what we saw earlier today. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about all of this. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.